Raylene Gonzalez, and I am here with Mrs. Holt, who is a missionary to Sierra Leone, West Africa. Miss Holt and her husband, Stephen, have been missionaries to Sierra Leone for many years. In fact, Mr. Holt is in Africa right now. We asked some of you children to come up with some questions that you would like us to ask Mrs. Holt, and that is what I'm here doing today. So we are here to ask her some of those questions. First, I would like to thank Miss Laura for taking the time to meet with me and being willing to record this video. Thank you.
My privilege.
Miss Laura, how many years have you and your husband been serving in Sierra Leone?
We have been there 14 years.
Wow.
Which is hard for me to believe. I just can't believe we've been there for so long. And it's gone quickly. Other times it's gone slowly, but it's all been blessed.
That is wonderful that you've been able to serve for that long. That is wonderful.
Yeah.
What language do the Africans speak in your village?
Oh my, that's a pretty tangled question. In our country, there are 13 tribal languages. And because our village is a gold mining village, we have almost every tribe represented in our village. So most of the tribal languages are spoken there. But also we have what is known as a pidgin English. And it's called Creole, K-R-I-O. And that is based in English, but trust me, it doesn't sound like English a lot. And that is so that the different tribes can communicate between each other. It's called a trade language. But then, to top it all off, English is actually the official language of Sierra Leone, and that is the language taught in schools. So even in our village, we have a blend of all of these languages going on, and it gets pretty interesting sometimes.
Are you able to communicate with pretty much everyone you come to since English is taught?
No, and the reason for that is there are various segments of the population who don't learn English, primarily women, because they're not as educated as the young men. That's changing, but still you encounter older women and they don't know, they just only know their tribal language. They don't even know the Creole language. But then children who've never been to school, because school's not required, they don't know it either. But Mr. Holt teaches in English, and that's because currently he only has men in his classes because the women are really too uncomfortable being in classes because they don't read, or if they do read, they don't read well. So they kind of shy away from the classes. And the men want their English to improve. So he speaks English when he's teaching.
Would you explain a typical Sunday service to us and who taught the lessons?
Sure. I want to start off by saying that Mr. Holt has never been the pastor of the church. The current pastor is one of our Bible Institute graduates, and then the other graduates take turns rotating through Sunday school. And some of the other men are, now that they're learning, are starting to step in and do some Sunday school as well. The church has always been entirely run by the indigenous native people. And then a church member and his wife do children's church, which is great. They take them outside under a big mango tree, and they do Sunday school that way. As far as our service, we start off with hymns and choruses that are in some of the tribal languages, which is so much of a blessing because the women really connect with that. And you can just see them praising the Lord and worshiping the Lord in a way that they can't when we move to a couple of the English hymns. But the congregation is memorizing the hymns as well. and so they're able to sing those, and we just have a lot of fun with music. So then we move into the more typical, just preaching service, and then that is done in Creole language, the Pidgin English, so that everybody can better understand it. Sometimes there's ladies that don't understand it, so you'll see some of the other ones helping them quietly. But for the most part, that is the best way for everybody to understand.
Do they ever use your paintings in the lessons?
Sometimes. I have on a few occasions worked with the pastor to get an illustration that he wanted to do for a particular lesson. So sometimes, but the illustrations are more typically used for evangelism, but yes, sometimes.
How many lessons have you painted pictures for?
That's really a hard thing to say because we've had so many, I kind of lose track. I would say between 25 and 30. We've done everything from Genesis to Revelation, all kinds of things in between. But primarily our pictures are used for evangelism, not for church teaching.
Do you have any paintings that you could show us?
I do. Actually, I have some. We'll start with one that is, it's a sketch, and it's in the idea phase. So, Mr. Stephen and I will get together and we'll talk about his idea, or if it's the pastor, I'll get with the pastor. This one's still in just the idea phase. Mr. Stephen and I will get together and talk about what he sees, or if it's the pastor, what he wants to convey, based from what they've been reading, or one of the stories in the Gospels that they want. Like this one is the Good Samaritan. And so we develop it, and I draw it, and he says, no, I want it more like this, or a little less like that, or whatever. So it's back and forth until it conveys what he's trying to express. Now this one is in the painting stage, and it has a ways to go yet. This one shows Jesus with the crown of thorns, and this is a two-piece set. This one will be Jesus with his crown of thorns, showing Jesus in mercy, coming in mercy, and then the other one is a crown of judgment when he comes again. So the two comings, the two advents of Jesus being shown by the crown that they're wearing. And then they take these and sometimes put these with other stories to finish out a story or to augment something, a preaching message. So that's that one.
That is amazing.
And the last one I have is a finished one. And I will look to that.
So this one is finished.
That one's finished, and it's in use now in this book. And also we have large banners, 3x5 banners that they hang up when we do outside preaching. So this is actually from a series that is in this book. And this is, obviously, it's the crucifixion. And because we deal primarily with Muslims, this gets a lot of attention because they understand sacrifice. They have sacrifices. And our people still have sacrifices in their traditional religion. And so the idea of sacrifice really fits with them. So that picture is now in the booklet. I don't know if the glare is too much, if you can see it okay. But also, like I said, this is also in a big banner, so they hang them up from a line, like a clothesline, so that people can see them in a big group, all gathered outside for preaching.
I know you live on a fenced-in property with multiple houses. Is the church on that property also?
Currently, yes, it is. But we're in the process of building a church building on a separate property. Right now, the church, right from its beginning, in 2012 is when the church started. It's been meeting in the classroom at our Bible school.
We saw some pictures of wildfires in your village. And how many wildfires have you had?
Oh, all these hard questions. I don't know how many. It's been a lot. It's very devastating. It's every year. It's just every year. We know we're going to fight some.
And how do you fight these wildfires? How do you put them out, or what do you do when you see one?
We pray for the wind to change, which it does sometimes. Certain times of the day, we know it's going to shift a certain way. And we say, Lord, could you just make it come a little sooner? And that has saved us a few times from terrible devastation. But sometimes we have people from the village will come up and help us. When we have that kind of help, they all come with buckets, and we just get the well going and just start throwing water. But also shovels and rakes and anything like that where we can put dirt on the fire or build up a burn of dirt to keep it from coming closer. I've fought probably 2 or 3 by myself, and it's scary,
Wow.
but only afterwards. Like right at the time, you do what you have to do,
Yes.
and then you realize that was scary.
Wow. Some of the kids want to know what kind of food you eat in Sierra Leone.
Well, because I'm an American, I shop at the supermarket, and we don't eat a lot of American type food. It's expensive, but we do get some. But the things that the people eat are very different. You wouldn't recognize most of it. Like sweet potatoes. Well, you think, okay, sweet potatoes, but they're white sweet potatoes instead of orange because they grow better there. And then there's potato leaf from the sweet potatoes, and they shred it and make like a sauce out of it. Everything goes into a sauce, and almost all sauces are served over rice, so we recognize rice, but the sauces are what are very different. There's cassava greens, and again, they do something with it. They shred it, but differently. Those ladies know how to cook. They really do. They make groundnut soup, which is, groundnuts are peanuts. They're all groundnuts with them. And that is very delicious. Now, the thing that I don't like is they put hot pepper in everything. So when they're cooking for us, they tone it down. They're very kind to us. So there's dried fish, there's smoked fish, there's monkey meat, there's bat meat, there's goat meat. I love goat meat. Another thing is there's these giant, huge white yams, and that's one of my favorites too. I really like that. That's the closest thing you would get to like one of our potatoes, just a white potato.
Right.
They don't have those there. So yams are good.
So what is the worst tasting food you've ever tried over there?
Well, to be polite, I tried this because you have a host and you're eating at their house and you eat. It's called, well, it's cow skin. So just think of the rawhide toy that your dog likes to chew on, except this has been simmering in the pot of soup. So it's very soft and almost gelatinous. And it's just different. That was difficult. I did eat some, and then I was able to pass my bowl to a younger person, which is how the younger people, it just gets passed down.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How do kids in Sierra Leone like to play?
But you know what? Kids are just kids. Wherever you go, they're all just kids. And they like to have fun, they like their friends. So even though our children don't have a lot of things, they know how to make fun. They will make their own toys, like out of a sardine can. They'll make little trucks. They just find things. They put things together and then just have fun. They like hide and seek. They invent different games. They just have fun. That's how they play. Just like kids here do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we have one more question, and that is, how can we pray for you?
Wow. I don't even have to think about that. We need workers. We need help. We need help. There's so much more that can be done. And Mr. Holt's getting older. He's already 70. So yeah, we need help. The thing is, Sierra Leone is a physically hard place to live. It's the third poorest country in the world, and there are many, many challenges. But it is such a privilege and blessing to serve there that far overrides any hardship. It truly does. So we need prayer for workers.
Well, we will pray for that, and we will pray for you, your husband, and your ministry. And thank you for serving over there for so many years.
It's been our privilege.
It's a blessing. It is.
Thank you.
And thank you for your time, for me being able to come over here and ask you these questions.
I appreciate it. Thank you much. Thank you, kids. Thank you.